Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Emperor Pokestone and welcome back to a brand new Bleach discussion video here on the channel. Now for today's video, we're going to be discussing Aizen's role in the upcoming Hell arc that Kubo is in the middle of making. After all, Aizen wasn't shown in the one-shot and was only mentioned by Granz in one line of dialogue. But from that single line of dialogue, I personally believe that Aizen has escaped the Mukin, that Aizen is in hiding, that Aizen is scared of Hell, and that Aizen will play a major role in the upcoming arc. And even if I'm wrong about the first three, I believe he will still play that major role. But before we get into today's discussion, if you guys are new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button down below and turn on post notifications. Your reward for doing so will be frequent Bleach content sent straight into your subscription feed. Also, if you end up enjoying the video, drop a like and share your thoughts with what's going on with Aizen. And without all further ado, let's get into the video. So I think the first thing that needs to be established for this theory is the facts we know about the current state that Aizen is in. This is best explored through the only text bubble concerning Aizen in the one-shot, where Granz says the tremendous Reiatsu that was keeping the mouth of Hell in check. Sosuke Aizen disappeared, and right after Yhwach vanished. Within this line, there are two potential routes Kubo could take. However, before we dive deeper into each respective route, I wanted to take a look at the actual kanji to see if there was any other way of saying it. Sadly, I have close to no knowledge of kanji, so I decided to ask my friend, the otaku of watches, Big Sweaty himself, to explain the original kanji used for the term disappeared.
Thanks, Pokesal, and hi to all our fellow otakus. Now, to be clear, my Japanese is by no means fluent, however I do have a basic grasp of Japanese which I hope to put to use here today. As many of you will know, each kanji has multiple readings, and the interesting part here is where we have the translation that says Sosuke Aizen disappeared. Now, the kanji meaning behind this leads us to one of two readings. Either the kanji is to be read as Aizen's Reiatsu is missing due to the actions of the Soul Society, i.e. his sealing in Muken. However, there is a second, more interesting reading, which is Aizen is missing as if to say that he has escaped and is now a free agent once more. Hope that helps, Pokesal.
Thanks for all the help, Sweaty. So basically, the man Otaku Watch was saying that we have two potential routes that the story could take. These routes being either Aizen is still in the Mukin, or Aizen has escaped the Mukin. The latter being way more interesting in both of our opinions. If Aizen was still in the Mukin, I still believe he would have a role in the new arc, but of that, a much smaller one. Most likely, Shunsui would free Aizen for a bit right at the end of the arc, just like Thousand Year Blood War, for some extra help. But what if Aizen actually escaped though? Aren't there some writing issues there? Well, lore-wise, I actually think it works better than Aizen's Reiatsu disappearing in the Mukin. Mostly because while in the Mukin, Aizen's Reiatsu was still out there. In fact, we have confirmation that 10 years after the war, Aizen managed to sense Yhwach's Reiatsu disappearing, meaning that Aizen's Reiatsu senses goes through that of the Mukin. Definitely not to the same extent as if he didn't have the seals on it and wasn't inside the Mukin, but still slightly strange to say the least. Aizen's Reiatsu has not completely disappeared, like the English translation might suggest. I genuinely believe that Aizen has escaped, and to not cause alarm among the Gotai 13, he could be using Kyoku Sugetsu to make himself appear in the Mukin. I also have another alternative to Kyoku Sugetsu later on in the video, so keep watching. The last time we have confirmation Aizen is in the Mukin is in the final chapter of Bleach, which is set 10 years after the Thousand Year Blood War. This new one-shot is set 12 years after the Thousand Year Blood War, meaning we have 2 years of unaccounted history to which Aizen could be doing anything. One of those things could be escaping from the Mukin. Not only this, but this seems like an angle Kubo might go with for his series. Kubo has a habit of making Aizen always a third party, and I think rather than in Thousand Year Blood War, where Kubo only dipped his toes by using Aizen as a third party, I think for this new arc, he might go all out. And if he does choose to go all in, I have a feeling that the only two living individuals that hold any threat to Aizen are the Ambassador of Hell, because he's just such a big mystery, and Ichigo Kurosaki for obvious reasons. And in order to level the playing fields and bring Aizen up to par with this ambassador, I think within this Hell arc, Kubo might drop Aizen's Bankai. Not only this, but similarly to how Yhwach feared death, most likely because of Hell, I have a feeling that Aizen fears Hell as well. In fact, it could become one of the reasons on why he seeked after immortality. We know that he seeked after immortality to become the Soul King, but a goal can have multiple reasons for why you want to to achieve something. Either way, his role could become quite interesting in the story. Kubo could also just use him to establish power in the world, perhaps showing the Ambassador of Hell completely destroying Aizen before Ichigo's fight with him, melting Aizen down to the bone so that Ichigo would have to watch Aizen try to regenerate his flesh being burned to a crisp. But despite these endless amounts of possibilities, there are two issues that a viewer known as Antonio and myself raised to me about this theory. And those are, how would Aizen escape if he is sealed? My answer to this is, Aizen managed to take off multiple seals in chapter 617. While it would take a lot of time, I reckon 12 years would be enough to figure out how to properly escape. The second issue is, if Aizen escaped, then how come his Reiatsu disappeared its grip on the mouth of hell? Well, I actually have two theories on this myself. The first one is that Sosuke Aizen is actually in hiding right now, and the place in which he is hiding is somewhere outside of the balance. Now, if you're a massive Bleach fan, you would know that there is only one place like that, and that place would be the Dangai. The Dangai is surrounded by a void and is separated by space and time itself, a place where time is 2,000 times denser, and in my opinion, a place where the cycle of balance would no longer exist, as it would make no sense to exist here. This is the place where someone of the strength of Sosuke Aizen could most likely hide for quite some time. In order to hide in the Dangai, you have to be able to use your Reiatsu to keep it from closing in on you. Isshin, using his Reiatsu, managed to keep the Dangai open for 2,000 hours, or 1 hour in the normal world. Granted, this was an Isshin that already had fought Aizen. Aizen's Reiatsu is one of the highest in the series, as he is literally a war potential for his Reiatsu alone. While this is getting very headcanon, I genuinely believe that Aizen also has the best ability to control his Reiatsu, and to be honest, we have no way of knowing if Aizen could hold the Dangai open for 2,000 years or 2,000 months. However, I genuinely believe with the help of the Hokyoku, he could hold it for an unquantifiable amount of time. Overall, I think this theory could actually work, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be the Dangai. You see, the Dangai exists in a void of space called the Garganta, and around this Garganta, there are several pocket dimensions known as the Valley of Screams. Aizen could be hiding in those, and yes, to the people who say the Valley of Screams are not canon, they have been canonized. While the movie Memories of Nobody's story isn't canon, the actual lore has been canonized by Kubo in this panel. Anyway, let's just say that this theory is wrong. What else could justify why Aizen leaving the Muken would allow the balance to still be destroyed? Well, in my discussion with Otaku Watcher Sweaty, we discussed another massive theory, and while it also has a ton of massive reaches in it, I thought it was a lot of fun to make, and I knew that he had to come on and share it. So give it up for the GOAT, the legend himself, once again, the Otaku of Watches, Big Sweaty!
It's hard to follow after some great Pokesal theories, but I'll give it a shot. To start off, I want to talk about the actions and mindset of the central powers of the Soul Society, the noble clans and their loyal dogs, Central 46. Over the course of the series, we have come to understand that the Soul Society always acts on a basis that they have any situation covered. Now admittedly, this arrogant position has had some disastrous consequences, but when thinking of countering possible threats, the de facto leaders of Soul Society always at least create a solution that they believe will be sufficient. We also know from the Can't Fear Your Own World novels that the only noble clan to remain unnamed has a deep interest in studying hell in order to gain more power. And considering that it's in a novel that we are told the Central 46 are the loyal dogs of the noble clans, we can therefore expect Central 46 to establish a system for dealing with hell. So, considering this interest in hell from a noble clan, and considering that Central 46 acts on the desires of the noble clans, what system for ensuring their control over hell could Soul Society have come up with? I believe the system that they developed is Mugen. The prison itself is designed to use the apprehended's Reiatsu as the method to which hell is sealed. Admittedly, I do not have a lot of solid evidence for this, but let me try to link some things together regardless. Now, in this new chapter, Shunsui tells us of the superstition that has been spoken of for a long time in Soul Society. The superstition that all Rei of grade 3 and above is sent down to hell as it cannot return to the earth of the Soul Society no matter what. It is also in this speech that Shunsui explains what Rei is and how it is a measurement that used to be utilised by nobles. And, as I said before, it is at least one of these noble clans that is interested in hell. Now, let's look at a place that seems very inconsistent with its use, Muken. And let's consider what that use is supposed to be and who is placed here. Muken is the 8th level of the Central Great Underground Prison. A void space completely isolated from the outside world. Under normal circumstances, Non-criminals are not permitted entry, and Mukin is reserved for criminals whose heart cannot be stopped by any means of executioners. So basically, immortals who house massive amounts of Reiatsu. With all this information about how Mukin is sealed off from the rest of the world, and only used for immortals, what use then is there in further sealing its occupants? Within the seal void of Mukin, Aizen is bound by seals of black straps that can only be undone by 19 keyholes in the ground, and these seals force Aizen's Reiatsu to stay near him. In chapter 617, Shunsui questions whether Aizen can even communicate using Reiatsu, considering the seals placed upon him. If Aizen's Reiatsu is being manipulated as suggested above, and there seems to be a link established between Reiatsu and immortality, which, by the way, is the very reason that Mukin exists, then what is this Reiatsu used for from Mukin? In chapter 618, Aizen is surprised after finding out Shunsui was forced to bury the Mukin key in his heart in order to guarantee that Aizen cannot escape. Aizen explicitly says, "Damn those guys in Central 46, to which Shunsui replies that they probably had the Soul Society in mind. Sure, it's because of Aizen's threats, but even Aizen is surprised by the level of protection Central 46 is willing to force upon their Captain Commander. If even Aizen cannot understand the reason for Central 46's vigilance, surely there is more at play here. All of these inconsistencies with Mukin, and the fact that it houses what are effectively permanent batteries, means it would be a perfect power source for some kind of seal, the seal on the mouth of hell. Perhaps then, Aizen escaping from Mukin would link in with this, with the seal failing due to the fact that there is no longer enough Reiatsu to hold the seal in place. But please remember, this is just a crackpot theory with no real evidence of anything to suggest its validity, although it is based on some inconsistencies we see from Mukin and its occupants, and also on the behaviours of Central 46 and the noble clans. I'll hand back over to the main man Pokesal now. Peace all.
Thank you, Sway, for sharing your theory. I had a lot of fun bouncing ideas off of the basis of it with you, but I also do want to say that both of these theories could be true. The Mukin could be the seal keeping the mouth of hell closed by collecting the Reiatsu of those inside, and Aizen could have escaped and hid in the Dongai so that the Gotai 13, Ichigo, and the Rankars don't know about his escape. Another thing is, if you believe that Kyoku Sugetsu wouldn't work while he is in the Dongai, which is totally fair to be honest, I doubt the Gotai 13 regularly checks the most dangerous prison floor, especially because prison breaks often happen when the door to the prison literally opens up for the prisoners, even if it's to just check that the prisoners are in there. Now before I end this video, I do want to preface that this is all hypothetical. The chances of all this happening is close to nothing. The chances of some of this happening is close to nothing. I'm just having fun with my friends, thinking and theorizing of the endless possibilities Kubo can take with this new arc. Even if Aizen is still in the Mukin, I don't think it's necessarily a plot hole, because perhaps he can only use his Reiatsu to sense through the outside world, and he doesn't have enough that are able to get past the Mukin walls and the seals that keep it close to his body in order to keep the mouth open. After all, we are dealing with Yamamoto, Unohana, and Ukitake's Reiatsu here. I definitely do believe that something is going on behind the scenes when it comes to the royal families in this upcoming arc, in some way at least. But anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end and taking some time out of your own day to peep this video. If you guys haven't subscribed to my homie Otaku Watch, let's try to get him to 100 subscribers. He is so close. I have another discussion with him about Aizen and his role in the arc coming out later. Also, he is making a few Bleach videos himself, so definitely go check out his channel and subscribe. Also, if you guys are new here, subscribe to my own channel, drop a like if you enjoy the video, and I do want to hear your thoughts about Aizen. Do you think he's dead? I mean, that could be a possibility. The Reiatsu just disappeared in the line. Or do you think he's still trapped in the Mukin and it's referring to his seals in the Mukin itself? Or finally, do you think he has escaped and do you think he is hiding in the Dongai? Let me know your thoughts, as I would love to hear them. Anyway, my name is Pokesal, and I will see you guys all in the next video. And in the words of Genichimaru, bye bye!